It'll lend a hand? Couldn't have come at a better time. We're assessing the castle's manpower, but it's not like the guards will volunteer to take a survey. I hate to use the term eavesdrop, but we're short on ears. If you see any castle guards, could you listen in? Out of sight, and without getting caught, obviously.
I've got a few more options behind the counter.
Remember, keep it hush-hush. Is there anywhere we can hide?
Who are you people? There's nothing to see here.
Uh-oh.
Zothpa's subordinate
This
was right.
spot looks good for spying.
Shh. Heard the news?
Yeah, they raised the threat level for the Skydom.
They keep sending reinforcements to Tempeel and other islands. Castle defenses will be stretched thin.
It's taking a toll on the public safety team, too. The Church of Avia has been popping up everywhere.
At least we're safe here. Don't have to worry about Seed Hollow getting invaded. Just hope I don't get shipped out.
Mobilizing soldiers out of Seed Hollow is sapping the castle's defenses. People might get edgy if this leaks.
You think we can hide here?
I know what I saw. That Harvin was wearing white robes. Matched what was described in the intel report to a T. They say that uniform stood out to one of the deadliest groups in Avia. Obviously, the Silver Wolf Corps is also nothing to sneeze at. But this group uses strange techniques. I should have arrested that Harvin. What if they've already infiltrated the city?
Avia may have already infiltrated Seed Hollow? That's bad news, but good to know.
Don't worry, there are no wrong choices here.
Remember, keep it hush-hush. Is there anywhere we can hide? Let's camp out here.
So my granddad said the craziest thing the other day.
Well, don't leave me hanging.
You know the Corridor of Peace? Know why they really call it that?
No, why?
It's to honor an astral who once saved us Sky Dwellers.
That's a good one.
What a joke.
That's what I said. They were the ones who conquered us. A compassionate astral. Can you imagine? Now that story I'd like to hear more about. Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with our task. I think we've heard enough. Let's go report this in.
Paxtos tune? How'd it go? I see. I guess we'd better offer some resources to bolster the castle's defenses. By the way, didn't you say something about needing to see the boss? He should be in by now. Why don't you head for the bar?
This Zothpa guy sure likes to dip his talons in everything, huh?
Yes. Thanks to him and his informants, the city's managed to stay relatively peaceful. But I'm going to do him one better and protect every single dweller in these skies.
Really? Are you sure you're not biting off more than you can chew?
Was that too much? Anyway, time to hit the bar.
Hey!
Yep.
So then... Right.
Ah!
Huh?
Damn nobles.
Everyone, meet Zothpa.
Well, out with it.
That's some jam.
Yeah, I was hoping you could help.
Let's talk business.
You didn't let me finish.
We aren't a charity. Selling info is how we don't starve. And the juicier the intel, the tastier our meals. You want a seat at the table? You gotta bring the bread.
Loud and clear.
And you folks don't strike me as the type that can afford our prices.
I'll say, those hefty ship repair bills add up pretty darn fast.
How about a proposal? You scratch my back, and I'll scratch yours.
We really don't have time for this.
Don't pass on a deal till you've heard every last detail. We've already looked into the mind sealer around your friend's neck. The catalyst stone that'll cancel the magic sleeps in some ruins on Dolly Island.
Are you absolutely certain?
Let me guess. You're giving us the scoop because you want something in return.
Man knows how to cut to the chase. All you resourceful folks have to do is break the seal on those ruins. It just so happens there's hidden treasure in there we'd love to get our hands on. And those are the conditions. Not a bad deal, if you ask me.
Yep, we both get what we want. Seems fair enough.
At this point, I think any lead is worth investigating.
The choice is yours, Captain.
I'll be waiting at the port. Come see me when you got your answer.
Mr. Shade back there was no ordinary dude.
Till then.
Mr. Shade back there was no ordinary dude.
Wow. Amazing.
And also...
So then, what should I do?
Neat.
Mr. Shade back there was no ordinary dude.
Nice. So then,
Excuse me. My. And also...
Yep.
Yes.
no way.
Yeah.
And also...
Oh.
Yes.
So then, and also...
I think you painted a different picture of the guy, Roland.
Well, he's very passionate about his work, yes.
We didn't come here to dig up treasure for someone else.
I know it's not the most direct way to get to Lyria, but it's better than nothing.
Why did it have to be Dolly Island, though? Not to mention breaking the seal on the ruins. But if we don't take that risk... I suppose Zothba knows what he's doing.
What are you mumbling about? Come on! He said he's waiting at the port!
Okie dokie. So then...
So then... Oh.
Daddies ain't got nothing on you! Mr. Shades back there was no ordinary dude.
I got you. And all.
Hey. Hi, everyone. I bear good tidings. Alpha wanted to thank you for your hard work. Something about finding hot gossip and shady cats? Kite-faring work sure is something else. Enjoy your gift! A fine hello to you! Now here's an offer you can't refuse. We have a wide selection of sigils. Sending out the old crew signal, eh? Who should we poke? I can sense you want to save a few cents.
Cat! Heard you've needed my blade! Guess I haven't had me a good roll for a while. like a fish. Played like a fiddle. Schooled like a fish. Played like a fiddle. Read like a book. Schooled like a fish. Played like a fiddle. Schooled like a... Read like a book. Schooled like a fish. Read like a book. Played like a fiddle. Read like a book. Played like a fiddle. Read like a book. You're wide open. Slice and dice. Smell you later. Played like a fiddle. It's curtains for you. Reel 'em in. Read like a book. Schooled like a fish. You're wide open. Smell you later. Reel 'em in. Read like a book. It's curtains for you. Played like a fiddle. You're wide open. Run if you can. That's it. A warrior hones his art over years and years of battle. Ultimate flash. It's curtains for you. Schooled like a fish. Reel 'em in. Read like a book. Smell you later. Where you looking? It's curtains for you. Ever tried fighting a shadow? Smell you later, wide open. What a guppy. Reel 'em in. Plays like a fiddle. Just testing you, lad. Ha! Try to keep up. Smell you later. Sky center. It's curtains for you. You're wide open. Slice and dice. Reel 'em in. It's curtains for you. Smell you later. Reel 'em in. Smell you later. You're wide open. It's curtains for you. Read like a book. How's about we end it? You're wide open. Smell you like... Watch 'em flounder. Over here, you dunce. It's curtains for you. No running for me. Schooled like a fish. Played like... That's it. A warrior hones his art over years and years of battle. Ultimate flash. Hey. Schooled like, played like a fiddle. They'll never sky center. It's curtains for you. MVP. Smell you later.
The food in the market looks so good. Too bad it'll have to wait for another day.
Yeah. Who knows when we'll find the time to kick back and relax.
I'm sure Lyria will fall in love with this beautiful city.
It's gonna be great showing her around.
Good stuff! Oh! Not bad! Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Not bad! Oh! Haven't lost my touch yet!
Welcome. Tempering your weapons? Always unlocked. Leave it to me. Not bad, is it? Got an order for a new weapon? This turned out fantastic. It's complete.
Which weapon shall I strengthen? Temper in your weapons? Leave it to me. It's a great success. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Not bad, is it? Let me show you what my master has taught me. Enhancing your sigils? That went well. It's a great success. What you got? We buy everything. Come again.
Beauty is in the hand of the wielder.
When you get to be my age, you appreciate a quality weapon. Listen to your blade, and she'll sing for you. Remember now, pride leads to folly. Huh? Ha! Hoo! That's enough for today. Huh? Ah! Remember now, pride leads to folly. Quiet the mind.
Fruit in the market looks so good. Too bad it'll have to wait for another day.
Yeah. Who knows when we'll find the time to kick back and relax.
Good day.
Once upon a time, in a land far away, there was a lone swordsman famed for his two-sword style. He became a legend after fighting over 10,000 battles, and the mere sound of his name struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. Whenever he appeared in town, ne'er-do-wells were said to scramble away like spiders fleeing the light. Prospective fighters began to seek out the swordsman, and thus he gained quite the following of disciples. Amongst them, some were so strong they could crush warships with a single strike. One could do worse when choosing students of the martial arts. So the master abandoned the battlefield for the mountains, where he could train his beloved disciples in peace. There was one disciple who quickly stood leagues above the rest. It took her only a matter of days to master the most complicated techniques. She grew at an astonishing rate into one of the most powerful fighters the master had ever seen. But more impressive than her wits or her aptitude was the strength of her conviction. Every day the top disciple begged for harder training, and the master was willing to reward her passion with the very depths of his knowledge. And that's why... Why? Oh, skies help me. That's why when the master found out his top disciple had betrayed him, he was filled with anguish. She went rogue, forcing some of the other disciples to do her bidding. Eventually, the master caught up with her, and they fought a deadly battle. When the dust settled, the top disciple's sword arm hung limp and unusable. It was a bittersweet victory, as the master knew what must come next. He readied his blade, preparing to release her to the afterlife. But he couldn't force himself to make the cut. Not after all he had poured into this girl. Not after failing her so. Thus, he laid down his weapon and promised to live his remaining days in penance and regret. Oh, how our good intentions cloud even the most prescient vision. Having thrown away his name, his blade, and his path, he set out back into the world. But this time, swearing no one would suffer from his tutelage again.
Well then, so long. Hello.
Once upon a time... Time passed, and the swordsman found himself atop a different mountain, where he learned he had a knack for fishing. Suited him just fine. Bass for breakfast, salmon for supper, and naps in between. Yep, it suited him just fine. It was the quiet, healing life of a hermit. Sometimes, when he needed supplies, he would go down to the village and train the locals in a little sword work. That made his coin purse jingle again. But this peace wasn't to last for the swordsman. He discovered his top disciple was back to her wicked ways, and, sword in hand, he vowed to conclude her story for good. This was his true purpose for traveling with the crew. Though the young captain never suspected the little Harvan fisherman was harboring such a dark secret. The former disciple's latest victim had been a simple man from a remote mountain area, cut down, somehow without the use of her sword. A real shame that. One more innocent life lost before its time. The swordsman asked the crew to make haste to the village. When he saw the murdered man's corpse, such was the carnage that he could barely keep from averting his eyes. It was his weakness, his cowardice, that cost this poor man's life. But this time, instead of wallowing in pity, he would don his white uniform of old and atone. He called it his burial garb, and it represented his fearlessness on the battlefield. If he were dressed to meet death face to face, what more could his foes do to intimidate him? Of course, his crewmates tried to reason with him, concerned he might throw his life away to make up for the wrongdoing of another. But the Swordmaster was determined. He had vowed to stop his former disciple, whatever risk that entailed. So, when finally the moment of reckoning had come, the Master gripped his blade, ready to strike down his favored pupil. Before he could do the deed, however, his resolve crumbled. His emotions were too strong, dulling his senses and causing him to lose the match. The Master's former youngest disciple, with his two newest pupils watching from the sidelines, rushed to aid him. Ironically, it was the youngest disciple who struck down the fiend in place of the Master. The swordsman was lost in grief, but his newfound champion told him this was for the best. After all, such an old life deserved the rest of its days to be spent in peace. After joining up with the crew, I've had some helter-skelter days, let me tell you. So when we arrived in Zega Grande, I knew I needed to get myself some fishing done. Reset the old noggin. Found a nice quiet pond and dropped my line. Bless me taters. Must have been hours past with no bite. Finally, I decided to pull up my rod and check if the bait was still hardy. But there weren't no bait, no hook, and no fish. Only a lonely little bobber remained on the line. Right, well, what about me traps? I was halfway through the search when I realized, blast, I left him in the lodge. What a day, what a day. But it was too late in the noon to go back for him, and I had other business to attend to, like getting back to the pond and staring out at the clear water. In that moment of stillness, the fishies swam out of their hiding spots. There were big ones and little ones, and the whole school of them reminded me of my teaching days. Each of my disciples was unique in their own right. Had me some slow learners and some fast ones, some goody two-shoes and some real punks. I learned me some good lessons from those kids. My top student, Grace, never wavered in her particular sense of justice, and her commitment to her training was ironclad. What a waste. Range, my youngest pupil, lost his way for decades after leaving my tutelage, but he ended up killing Grace in my stead. It was selfless, thinking only of his master. They say the master extracts potential from the student, but I fear I've ruined more young lives than I've helped. Makes a fisherman wonder how they all would have turned out had he just kept well enough to himself. I turned Grace into a monster. Not a day goes by I don't regret honing her skills. Unfortunately, she had the gift and the gumption to go far, and I exhausted all my knowledge on her. If only I had focused more on the why of my teachings rather than the what. Huh? I swore I felt a nibble at my rod, but when I pulled it up, there was nothing to be found. That's when I remembered I still hadn't hooked or baited the line. That was odd. I was getting antsy. Maybe it was because I forgot the traps, but I couldn't relax just sitting there anymore. I decided to pack up and head back into town. You see, the mind is like a creek. You want to keep it healthy, you gotta keep the waters from stagnating. But sharing them too much, and you risk losing all your fish. I decided to head to Sierra's shack and replace some fishing gear, hopefully restoring my brain pond in the process. But just as I was dipping my toes into the placid waters of the lures and baits, I heard a rustle from behind, and to my surprise, they were my crewmates, picking up a package. Said they were bored at the inn and asked if they could come fishing with me. Youngsters so bored they wanted to go fishing? First time for everything, huh? While I was hammering out the finer points of fly casting with the captain, Sierra Carte piped up. Said she'd come across a pretty tasty rumor.
Yep, apparently there's a legendary fisherman in this skydom that people have started calling the Fisher God.
I'd heard rumors like this one before, and they always stank like fish guts. Catching 10 fish with one cast, netting a whole consortium of crabs. By yourself? Gah! If I had a fin for every story like this, I'd be a pretty scary sea monster by now. Then again, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't intrigued. There's a scale of truth to every story, so there must be a reason they call this person the Fisher God. Guess you might say my interest was piqued. Because if this fella were half as good as me, he'd make a mighty fine rival. And maybe that's just what I needed.
Please come again.
My katana's all sharpened and ready.
New furniture! Can't decide, huh? All right.
But see,
All right.
Hey!
I've got you covered.
Need some muscle?
Found anything you like? I've got a few more options behind the counter.
Let's move out.